The Central Coast of California is the major artichoke producing area of the United States, producing 80% of the nation's artichokes. Near ideal growing conditions of cool weather and abundant sunshine, coupled with advances in breeding and technology, have allowed Central Coast growers to produce artichokes with outstanding flavor and shape. In the following video, we learn how a leading producer, Ocean Mist Farms, grows artichokes from transplants through harvest.
Hello, I'm Chris Drew, Vice President of Operations for Ocean Mist Farms based in Castroville, California. Ocean Mist Farms is the leading producer of fresh artichokes in the United States and potentially the world. We farm over 2,500 acres of artichokes in the Castroville area, which is classified as the artichoke center of the world. Artichokes like to grow in a cool season climate with the daily temperatures approximately 65 degrees, nighttime temperatures around 58 degrees. The field that you see here behind me is a field of what we classify as annual artichokes. They're planted as transplants, which are derived from seeds grown at a local greenhouse. We bring them out here at an age of approximately 35 to 45 days and plant them into the field using a vegetable transplanter. We grow our annual artichokes on 80-inch beds, and the spacing between each plant varies based on the time of the year, anywhere from 24 to 30 inches. Prior to planting, we install the drip tape, which you can see on both sides of the plants, and we use an emitter spacing of 15 inches. We utilize 2 tapes for adequate watering and to cut down on the duration of time the water needs to run. We do not employ sprinklers and try and keep most free moisture off of the plants to eliminate any pathogens that may become present in this cool coastal climate. We harvest these plants at approximately 180 days of age. At certain times of the year, it can take longer to produce just based on the shorter days and the cooler temperatures. We harvest artichokes in the Castroville area 365 days a year, as well as we produce artichokes in the wintertime in the Coachella Valley as well as Baja, Mexico. Ocean Mist Farms employs 2 in-house plant breeders. Our artichoke varieties that we grow are proprietary and are the result of many years of trialing. And so you can see here, this is one of our artichoke seed nurseries. You can see the space here, and then you can see the space up there. Each of these sections is a different variety that we are trialing to see if it will yield a good annual artichoke for us in the future. One of the things that we really look for in an artichoke, one is the shape, second is the flavor, and then yield from the plant. We always want to put quality over quantity. Once planted, the artichoke will stay in this field for approximately 8 to 9 months. And once fully harvested, we will utilize this ground for another crop. In the past, we would grow an heirloom artichoke or a perennial artichoke, which would stay in the same field for approximately 15 to 20 years before it would be rotated with another crop. Now with our annual artichokes, we have the capability of producing a quality artichoke and then being able to utilize the ground for another crop. Farming annual artichokes essentially helps us keep the soil healthier as well as the plant healthier. Being able to rotate from different crops breaks disease and pest cycles. Utilizing varieties such as these in this field, we look for anything that will have plant resistance, pathogen resistance, and potentially pest resistance. Each year we trial over 50 to 80 varieties of artichokes throughout the season to determine at which point in the year they'll work the best. This is a tray of transplants. These artichoke plants are approximately 35 days old, and you can see that it has a real nice root system. We always like to take a look at the plants before we plant them and ensure that the roots are all the way through the plug and not concentrated either on the top or the bottom. We want a good strong plant. You can see the color on this is very nice, very strong, hardened off transplant. We will then take this tray and put it onto the machine that you see back here. That machine is planting 3 80-inch beds at a time. You can see here that the drip tape is on both sides of the plant. This was installed prior to planting, and it's ready to go. Once we finish the transplanting operation, we'll turn the water on and instantly water the plugs. We utilize 2 drip tapes to cut down on the amount of time we have to run the drip system. We only have a set number of gallons per minute on each ranch, and by employing 2 drip tapes, one, it keeps the salts away from the center of the bed and cuts down on the length of time that we need to run the water. So after plant establishment, we come in and employ a cultivation technique. The cultivation technique is utilized in 2 forms. One, to remove any weeds that were established post-transplant, as well as to loosen up the soil surface, allowing air to penetrate the roots. So you can see this bed has not been cultivated, and this bed to my left has been. So you can see here how nice and loose the soil is, allowing the roots to penetrate into this area to reach any air pockets, as well as to remove the weeds that were growing here as well. Given the time of the year, after 180 to 250 days, the artichokes will be ready for harvest. So the artichoke will grow vegetatively and then produce a stalk in the center of the plant, which will yield the artichokes. As the artichokes are growing, they'll grow in specific sizes based on the area or part of the plant in which they were grown. So in the center part of the plant, we have what we call our primary artichoke bud, which will be the largest size artichoke. And working out from the center, we go down in size. So we would have what we call a 12 or 18, which is the number of artichokes per carton, all the way out to what we call our baby artichokes here. So we have primary artichoke production, secondary artichoke production, and then tertiary artichoke production. So once the artichoke reaches the top of the plant, such as this one here, our harvest crews will come in, and by hand with a knife, they will slide it just below the base of the artichoke bud. Remember to note that an artichoke is actually an immature flower bud. So when you consume an artichoke, you're actually consuming an immature flower bud. That artichoke will be cut from the stem and placed in a large bag on our harvest crew's back, which we call a canasta. From that point, the artichokes will be taken to our harvest machine, and they'll be placed into individual cartons by size. Again, we have a 12 size artichoke, which would be the largest, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 48, and then we get into our baby size artichokes. So you can see the gentlemen here have those bags on their backs, and as they're walking through the field, they're going to take artichokes off the plant that are ready and toss them over their shoulders into a red bag, which will then be taken to the packing machine. Each of those canastas, when they're full, they can weigh about 80 to 100 pounds. That's a lot of weight on your back. Very similar to a backpack. When we take an artichoke bud off, we measure the thickness of the stem. And so we when we cut the stem, often we want to know how much pressure it takes to get through. The more pressure that we have to apply, the denser and thicker the stem, oftentimes the quality of the artichoke will be deteriorated. So we call it hard stem. We don't want hard stem, we want the stems to be sweet, and when your knife slips through, it's almost like cutting butter. We really don't want to have to apply a lot of pressure to the stem to cut it. Again, that'll correlate to thicker bracts, tougher bracts, and nobody likes a tough artichoke that takes longer than 45 minutes to cook. So this would be what we call a 12 size artichoke. So this is the largest artichoke produced on the plant. The artichoke plant itself is harvested anywhere from 7 to 12 times during its life cycle. And at the end of its life cycle, it'll be chopped down with a large chopper, very similar to a big lawnmower. And then all the plant material will be returned to the soil as organic matter. So this artichoke here, you can see that it has started to open. Again, we talked about an artichoke being an immature flower bud. We have strict spread standards that dictate how much room can be between the bract and the actual artichoke head itself. And we do not want to pick anything that has spread, just due to the fact that it doesn't look very presentable at the retail store level. Most shoppers shop by appearance, and anything that has any cosmetic blemish on it will oftentimes be left behind at the retail level and be summed up as what they call shrink. The artichoke, you can see, has started to blush a little bit, and that's just based upon the age of the artichoke bud itself. We don't want to leave anything on the plant that, again, will have that cosmetic streaking to it, but it is related to the age of the actual artichoke bud. So here you can see the trailer of finished cartons. We're stacking these artichokes by size. So you can see that the artichoke boxes on the edge of the trailer there are what we call size 18, and they will be palletized in that particular size and then taken into the cold storage for inventory and then shipped out. So each individual case has its own what we call PTI, Produce Traceability Initiative sticker. It distinguishes the block where the product originated, as well as the size and origin. All of our artichokes are place packed. So you can see here, this is a case of 24 artichokes. We put the PLU, product lookup code, on each individual artichoke. And this is at the retail level, so the retail clerks and or the self-checkout counter knows the product SKU and charges the customer accordingly. At the end of the artichoke cycle, once all artichokes have been harvested off the plant, we bring in a chopper and we chop the plants down, and then we will bring in a disc and we'll work it much like we do the other crops. So we'll disc it, chisel it, subsoil it, disc it, and then prepare it for the following crop. It's essential that you operate the tractor in a speed that doesn't rip the crowns out of the ground. And so we go approximately 2 to 3 miles an hour just to get a nice chop on it, and then we'll come in behind with the disc. If we were to go too fast, we would rip the crowns out of the ground, and then it's a little bit harder to work the ground as you're making big clods. And we really try and keep the clods to a minimum as we're working. It just makes it a little bit difficult for further crops, or you'd have to apply an irrigation just to soften the soil back up.
So this is for a perennial artichoke right here, but you're going to cut down your annuals as well with the same machine, right?
Correct.
Do you go faster there because you're not worried about pulling up the crown?
At times, but really you don't want to do anything that's going to damage the equipment. And so you want to also maintain the speed, so you're taking it easy on the equipment, as well as you don't want to have to do anything that's going to increase operation, meaning more passes with the disc or anything like that. You want to be able to make it as easy as you can throughout the chain of groundwork. So this is our consolidation shed. At this point, once we receive artichokes at our cooling facility, we'll separate out the sizes and build full pallets. Oftentimes we get partial pallets that come in from the field that don't meet the full 96 cases per pallet. We'll separate those out and wait for other pallets to come in from the field, and then consolidate and build a full pallet. So you can see here behind us, we have full pallets of artichokes that are easier for storage and easier for shipment. The pallet tag that you see here is distinguishing the size of the artichokes. So this pallet is a bulk artichoke. It's a 12 count. It has all of the information. You can see what time it was received from the field, the block code that it came from, the quantity per pallet, and then this number here is specific to this particular tag. In the event we needed to go look up this product, we could see which tags were shipped on which orders and be able to bring it back to the actual block in which it was packed. So once the artichoke pallets are consolidated, we'll put them in the vacuum tube to cool them down. They stay in the vacuum tube for approximately 40 minutes, depending on the field heat. Once they're cooled down, we'll bring them inside the cooler, the cold storage here, which we maintain the temperature between 34 to 36 degrees. We'll palletize them here on the racks and pull them out as they're ordered and load them on the truck heading out to the store.
Artichokes have traditionally been grown as a perennial crop. Advances in technology, as well as plant breeding, have allowed the crop to be transitioned to an annual cropping system without sacrificing quality or yield. And the majority of California artichokes are now grown as annuals. Great growing conditions, hard work and dedication, and receptivity to innovation have allowed producers on the Central Coast of California to excel and will allow them to continue to grow high-quality artichokes for years to come.